In the dimly lit halls of the Qing imperial palace, the shadows were long, and the air was heavy with the scent of sandalwood incense. Outside, the vast courtyards of the Forbidden City stretched under a sky where history seemed to press down on the very tiles. Inside, a single figure sat in quiet contemplation, a woman whose will had shaped the destiny of an empire, Empress Dowager Cixi. To many in the West, Cixi is remembered as the Dragon Lady, a ruler shrouded in mystery, intrigue, and controversy. She rose from a low-ranking concubine to the de facto ruler of China for nearly half a century, navigating palace politics with a combination of ruthless strategy and remarkable intelligence. But beyond the political maneuvering, there was another side to Cixi, one rarely discussed in official histories, yet whispered about in memoirs and private accounts: her fascination with the occult, particularly the art of spirit summoning. In the late 19th century, while Europe and America were experiencing the height of the spiritualist movement, seances, table-turning, and communications with the dead, the Qing court had its own, much older traditions of contacting the spirit world. For Cixi, these were not mere amusements. They were tools for guidance, for reassurance, and perhaps even for control over those around her. Today, we will step into that hidden world, exploring how the woman who commanded an empire also sought counsel from realms beyond the living. This is the story of Cixi's spirit summoning, occult practices in the Qing court, a journey into the forbidden side of the Forbidden City. The historical context: Cixi's rise and the Qing court. The Qing dynasty, ruled by the Manchu Aisin-Jioro clan, was a world of elaborate etiquette, strict hierarchy, and closely guarded secrets. The palace was not merely a political arena, it was also a spiritual and symbolic center of the empire. Every ritual, every architectural design, and every act of governance was steeped in centuries-old cosmological beliefs. Cixi entered this world in 1852 as a young concubine of the Shanfeng emperor. She quickly distinguished herself, not through beauty alone, but through her sharp mind and ability to read people. When the emperor died in 1861, leaving behind a young son as heir, Cixi seized a rare opportunity. In a bold coup known as the Xinyu coup, she allied with the Empress Dowager Cixi and key palace officials to oust the regents appointed by the late emperor. From that moment, she was more than just a concubine. She was a political force. By the late 19th century, Cixi had weathered court intrigues, rebellions, and foreign invasions. But her personal life was marked by loss, the deaths of allies, family members, and trusted officials. In a court where treachery could hide behind a smile, the ability to seek guidance beyond the mortal realm was deeply appealing. The Qing court was no stranger to spirit communication. Daoist mediums, Buddhist monks, and folk shamans had long been part of China's spiritual landscape. Imperial patronage of such figures was not unusual. Emperors had for centuries sought omens and divine counsel before major decisions. Yet under Cixi, these practices took on a distinctly personal and political dimension. Spirit summoning in the Qing court. Within the high walls of the Forbidden City, spirit summoning was a complex affair. It was not the theatrical seance of the Western salons with velvet curtains and table wrapping. Instead, it blended Daoist ritual, Buddhist chanting, and folk divination techniques. One favored method was Fuji, the planchette writing technique. This involved placing a wooden stick or stylus on a tray of fine sand or ashes, guided by the hands of two mediums. As the mediums entered a trance, the stylus would trace characters, spelling out messages said to come from spirits, often ancestors, deities, or famous historical figures. The messages could be poetic, cryptic, or startlingly direct. Another method involved spirit mediums, who entered altered states of consciousness through chanting, incense smoke, and rhythmic drumming. These mediums, often women from outside the palace, claimed to channel the voices of departed souls or divine entities. Cixi reportedly summoned spirits for multiple reasons. political guidance, before making major decisions about foreign diplomacy or military action. The personal closure, to speak with deceased relatives or favored eunuchs. Spiritual protection, to identify threats or bad omens in the palace. Unlike in the West, where seances were sometimes treated as parlor entertainment, in the Qing court, these rituals were bound by solemn protocol. Only trusted attendants and eunuchs were allowed to witness them. The medium's words were recorded and sometimes stored in palace archives, though many such records have since vanished. The Western connection Cixi's fascination with spirit communication coincided with the global spiritualist movement, which had swept through Europe and America after the 1840s. This movement had its own mediums, seance circles, and claims of speaking with the dead. While there is no direct evidence that Cixi modeled her practices on Western methods, she was aware of them. Foreign envoys and missionaries sometimes brought news of these strange Western rituals to Beijing. The idea that Americans and Europeans, modern industrial powers, also sought contact with the afterlife may have intrigued her. If nothing else, it validated her own practices as part of a universal human impulse. Yet there was a key difference. Western seances often claimed to channel anyone, from Shakespeare to Napoleon, while Chinese spirit summoning focused on family ancestors, revered sages, and celestial guardians. For Cixi, the act was less about curiosity and more about reinforcing her legitimacy as a ruler under heaven's mandate. Anecdotes and legends, several memoirs from palace servants and officials, though sometimes unreliable, tell colorful stories of Cixi's seances. One eunuch claimed that during a particularly tense period of foreign negotiations, Cixi summoned the spirit of the Kangxi emperor, her dynasty's most revered ruler. Through the medium, the spirit allegedly advised her to yield in small matters to preserve the greater whole, a philosophy she later applied in dealing with foreign powers. Another tale tells of a seance gone wrong, in which the medium entered a violent trance, speaking in a voice that accused certain officials of betrayal. Within weeks, those officials were removed from their posts. While such accounts cannot be fully verified, they reflect the enduring belief that in the Qing court, politics and the supernatural could be deeply intertwined. The final years and legacy. As Cixi aged, her reliance on spirit summoning seemed to grow. In her final years, she reportedly sought frequent sessions to ask about her health, the stability of the empire, and even the afterlife. When she died in 1908, whispers in the palace claimed she had left instructions, not only for the succession, but for rituals to be conducted to ensure her spirit's safe journey. Whether true or not, the image of the Empress Dowager, half-ruler, half-seeker of unseen truths, became part of her enduring legend. Today, historians debate how much of this was superstition, political theater, or genuine belief. But one thing is clear. For Cixi, ruling China was never just about armies and edicts. It was also about aligning herself with the unseen forces she believed shaped the destiny of nations.